Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Naomi Hamm, who is one of Centum's top brokers. We're going to be chatting about things like why she chose to get into the mortgage industry, why she chooses to continue to partner with Centum, and what really makes her proud. All that and more coming up shortly. Thank you. So Naomi, tell me what keeps you in the mortgage broker world? Why do you continually wake up and want to help your clients?
Um, I ask myself that sometimes. I'm good at what I do. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've I've built a very good relationship with my clients, and
Mm-hmm.
there's the bad days, but then the good days when someone's like, "Oh man, I never would have gotten to a house if it hadn't been for you. Thank you so much for taking so much time
Yeah.
with me." And those are the kind of things that make you just feel really good about yourself.
Yeah.
So I do really love it when someone comes and they have no hope in buying a home and they do
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I say and they come back in 2 years and they're like, I did it, and they buy a house. So that's pretty cool. Now that I've been here
Yeah.
this long, it's really nice to see that. So
Yeah.
that's probably one of the biggest things. I love the flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Having two kids, it is really nice to not be stuck in an office 9 to 5 because
Mm-hmm.
I can go to all of their events. I don't miss things. I get to be a part of their lives. It's harder in the beginning. You do have to, spend a little more time at work and missing out
Yeah.
on stuff. But as you get established, you run your own business, you run your own
Yeah.
schedule, and it's really awesome.
Nice. So,
That's
I
probably
mean,
the biggest stuff, I think.
yeah, I mean, that's a huge driver, helping people and that sense of achievement and knowing that they wouldn't be in that house had you not sat down with them and given them a strategy. And it's one thing to give them a
Yeah.
strategy, but it also kudos to your clients for actually following it because it's very easy to be like, you know what, we're going to do it. And you get the plan and then they don't follow it. And then in 2 years, they reach out to you and like, well, we're ready to buy. And you're like, but did you follow the plan? It's like, no, no, no. But,
Yeah.
so I mean, it speaks volumes to your ability to communicate that they follow it. Um,
Well, that
so,
happens sometimes too. They don't always follow it. Not always.
shh, happen
Hmm.
never happens,
Never. They're always looking. It's like my kids,
right?
right?
They never go and buy a car just before closing.
No,
Or,
no.
uh,
Hmm.
But can you talk to me a little bit about like your relationship building because you're right. Like we're not in a transactional role. We are in that relationship building role. So how have you found like what have you done that has provided you with all this success?
I just think I'm a very trustworthy person. I joke about it all the time when the other brokers ask me, like, well, what do you say? I'm like, I tell them just trust me. And I don't know why they trust me, but I think I just come across that way that they can, and they know I'm looking out
Right.
for them. And I really think that was
Right.
a big part of it. The last couple years made me a little bit nervous because I think to meet me in person, I don't lose deals. But the last 2 years being over, phone calls or email and stuff,
Mm,
I'm not necessarily a person to them yet. I'm a bank person or something. And
right.
so thankfully, it still went really well. I still was able to build really good relationships, even via email with clients where
Mm,
they got to know me enough that they wanted to stay with me and they wanted to trust me and they just wanted to work with me. So,
mm-hmm.
but I think that's the biggest thing is just I'm my real self around people.
Yeah.
If I'm at my son's hockey game and someone calls me like, you know what, hey, I'm just at my son's hockey game, I'll give you a call later. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
person. I'm not just a
Right.
person at a job. So I
Right.
think people
Right.
respect that when you're
Yeah.
yourself, you're human. So
Right. And I think that like the being your authentic self really resonates with a lot of people. And they phone you and you're at a hockey game. You're not afraid to communicate that to them versus trying to answer the call or answer the question, and maybe you're not giving them the best customer experience. So, it speaks to your professionalism to say this isn't the right time for me to be helping you, but I'm going to acknowledge that you've reached out to me and let me, engage with you when I'm in a position to give you like 100% of myself, right?
yeah. Yeah. And that takes a long time to learn. In the beginning, you drop everything to run to work or run to do this, run to do that. And as you get going, you realize that the people who want to be with you will stay with you
Mm,
when you're honest with them. And I
yeah.
think that makes a big difference. The ones that are calling just wanting you to drop everything and come in right now are typically the ones that are either rate shopping or they're not really going to be loyal to you anyways.
Mm,
So
yeah.
you learn that as you go through the job.
Totally. So you said that you were a little bit nervous about the reconfiguration of what work looked like during the last few years. So can you tell me how
Mhm.
you like overcame that fear? Because it's not it's not easy to do that, and you've obviously been exceptionally successful overcoming that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. I think the biggest worry was, like I say, when you meet someone in person, I think it's harder to just go elsewhere and cheat on them essentially.
Yeah. So when you hear so Centum uses the word family a lot. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
Let me do that one again. Centum uses the word family a lot. When you hear that word family, what does that mean to you?
Um, I think we think of our office here as a family as well. I think that it means that everybody has each other's
Mhm.
back, and nobody gets left behind. Like if somebody needs help, there are how many other people to jump in and help out when they
Mhm.
can, and you don't feel
Yeah.
alone. I think that's the big part, right? You have someone to help you.
Yeah. Why do you continue to choose to be part of the Centum family?
I think just because it's nice to have the support.
Mhm.
I know that if we ever need anything at this office, we can give Chris a call and he'll try to hook us up with whatever we need. Um, it's just nice. I mean, we have a little advantage here being that, he worked with us and stuff. So I think sometimes it's kind of that little inside scoop we've got there. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone else has the same support as well. I think that,
Yeah.
the head office really does whatever they can to try to support their branches and work with the ones who want to succeed. So,
Yeah, and I think that's really key. Working with the ones that want to succeed. If there are brokers that need help, being able to reach out to somebody and request that help and actually have somebody who cares and wants to see that person succeed is really important. And I can say that everybody that I've engaged with in the head office has that's their primary focus. All they want to do is see, the Centum family succeed. And the sharing of knowledge that I've noticed since coming on board is phenomenal. Um, Whereas, this can be quite a competitive industry, but within the Centum family, I don't feel that competition. It's all that very, friendly support and care for each other. And, you know, this is
yeah,
how I did it. You might be able to apply it to your situation because everybody wants to see their family members succeed.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. It's nice. Like, I think for me, the first time that when we went to Jamaica with MPP and getting to meet a lot of these other successful brokers, like, you build friendships with these guys. Like, I mean, there's been times where I've called Leanne up in Halifax and just said, "Oh my God, what do I do?" And like, she drops what she's doing, she helps. Like,
Yeah.
and she doesn't have to. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really nice to know that it's great when you get to meet those people and you make this connection with, it's like a big family gathering and
Yeah.
you get to have these relationships and know that, have you done this before? Have you come across this? And
Mm.
just different advice from, other perspectives is really nice.
Yeah, and I think it's that like here's some have you thought of this and understanding that there's enough clients to go around. And that's the beauty of this industry. We know people are always going to want housing or cuz housing is a basic necessity of life. So we have that ability to um, take a little bit of comfort in knowing that it's not selling cars. We're
Yeah.
providing people with a basic life necessity, and there's always going to be a need for that. And that's, as we all saw during the pandemic, we were resilient in that situation where a lot of people unfortunately suffered. We as an industry thrived, and it made me really proud to be part of the industry. I hadn't
Mhm.
really had an opportunity to stop and think about what my contribution to society was in every, when I go to work every day. But then realizing, that working in the mortgage industry, we are so integral and important, and that really like filled me with a sense of pride that I didn't have before. It sounds really, really cheesy, but it's true. And you're like, I'm an essential service. And I don't think I'd ever thought of it in that context.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at these online like Rocket Mortgage and all these things, and we joke about that quite often here is you see some of the stuff that you have to go through with your client. How on earth are some of these people able to do something like that? Because they need their hands held through it, and
Yeah.
Rocket Mortgage is not going to do that for you.
Mm.
You need a person who cares and wants to help you. Like, nope, that's not a T4 actually. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy when you think about it. Like people need human interaction and someone to help. Like everything's online nowadays. Yeah, I can still help you online, but I'm still a person behind that application and
Mm.
I'm still going to help you through this whole situation. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And the ability to pick up the phone and speak to you is huge.
yeah, yeah. Nobody likes it when you call and it's press one for this, press two. I've tried calling places and it's like, I just want a person. I don't care who I talk to. If it's the janitor, I don't care. Just
Yeah.
please let me
Just
talk to a
mash all the
person.
keys.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Oh, I hate it.
Until you
Like
get the
I
operator.
pretty much if I can't talk, yeah, if I can't talk to a person, I'm moving on. I'm going elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't like automated,
Yeah.
and I don't like to talk on the phone. But when I need to understand something, I want to talk to a person to explain it to me so I can ask a question, not a chat bot where they
Yeah.
only have so many answers in there. I want to talk to
Oh,
somebody who can answer my questions specifically.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think, we see the rise of millennials in this industry purchasing properties. And while they're really good at researching, they also really want that like person to speak to. Um, so I think there was like a large fear before when things started to become more and more online that there would be no need for a broker. And there's always going to be clients that don't want to interact, but there will always be people who
Mhm.
want to talk it out. Because to our
Yeah,
earlier conversation, this may be the first time that they're doing it and they have no idea.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
We can all fill out online forms, but if there's something a little off, what do you like? Who do you ask?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Like as a broker though, do you feel the obligation to kind of know everything from all the lenders at sometimes?
You know what? Actually, that's the best part of my job. Obviously, you have your specific ones where you're like, yeah, I know that guy will do this, or,
Mm-hmm.
I'll check if anyone else does. But I honestly love it as being a broker because if you're at the bank, you can't be like, oh, I'm not sure. Everybody does things a little differently. Let me check.
Yeah.
Like, I can
Yeah.
say that to like all the time. Nobody's going to be upset with that. They don't want you making up an answer. If they're like,
Right.
yeah, every lender handles that a little differently, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
check into that for you. Just buy
Right.
me time. You can't do that when you only have one product. So
Yeah.
it is a lot easier on you if you do understand what's going on because we've tried in this office so many times to put together a book or an online anything where this is what MCAP does, this is what First
Mm.
National does, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just so hard to pinpoint because there's always something just a little different. It's like, well, will they do that? And
Yeah.
it's yeah, there's just so much, and everybody's similar, but they're different at the same time. There's a lot of little things here and there that one guy will do and the other guy won't do. So you have to,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot to learn.
And it's funny because really what you're describing is having those relationships with the lenders. And the stronger your relationship is with your lender slash underwriter, the stronger you are as a broker because you have the capacity to phone your underwriter. Can you do this? And based on the strength of your relationship and how much that underwriter trusts you, will dictate how willing they are to go outside the box for you, or, work in that gray area for you. So, not only is it integral to have those relationships with your clients, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's integral to have those relationships with your underwriters, because they're the ones that are, in your corner, making sure that file gets approved, because you wouldn't send a file to a lender if you didn't believe in it. And it's just the ability for you to be able to articulate why you believe in that file to your underwriter, and have them see it through your eyes and be like, you know what, yeah, that's an approval.
Yeah,
So
those are the ones that I want to work with, and I can't stress that enough. When I have other brokers coming into my office going, well, what would you do? I'm like, why does it matter what I would do? What would your underwriter do? I'm not the one that's going to decide if this is going through for you or not. So have you called your underwriter
right,
yet? And
yeah,
I keep trying to remind them, like, how do you think I got to where I am? I didn't constantly go bug Chris and Helen. Yes, they were there to help me, but
hmm,
I reached out to BDMs. I've built great relationships with my BDMs, my underwriters, and I will send deals somewhere where I don't make nearly as much money if I know that that person has my back, because my
yeah,
stress levels are just so much lower when I know that it's the deal is when I send you a new deal, yeah, I'll sure we'll try your new lender. Let me give it a shot.
right, right,
And it's like it's so stressful trying to try out these new lenders because you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen, right? Whereas the ones you get
mm,
comfortable with, and like I can always call up going, oh my God, like when MCAP cut off Brandon because we were all underwater apparently, that was the most stressful 3 weeks of my life because
right,
I needed them. I needed to know that when I sent my deal in, I could just sit back and just sit here to write my
right,
financing letter because, oh man, yeah, those
yeah.
relationships I think are even more important than the clients, to be honest, because if you have an underwriter who likes you, they will do whatever they can to help you anytime. So
It's true.
that's probably my biggest thing, honestly, is
Yeah.
the relationships with my lenders.
It's really interesting because you're, I think, the fourth person I've spoken with, and ironically, this is the first time underwriting has come up, and the importance of having those strong relationships, not
Oh,
only with your clients but with your underwriters and your lenders, because
yeah,
it's that symbiotic relationship. Without us, they wouldn't have a job, and without their, like vice versa, we need them
yeah,
just as much as they need us. And
big time.
it's surprising how, and I think there's a change in the industry, but historically the attitude towards underwriting hasn't been the most positive. And
Yeah.
I think it's a really undersung position, and the people who go into it, genuinely want to help. And I don't think they get enough praise for that, from the industry. I think there's a lot of brokers
Yeah.
who are like, it's me. Yes, you got the client in,
Hmm.
but the underwriter was the one who got that file organized, got that file
Yeah.
approved, gave all those exceptions. The underwriter was the one who chased you for documents. So yes, what you
Yeah.
did get your client in, but it's
Yeah.
also, there's another part to it which I think sometimes goes unmentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's definitely 99% of where my business stays organized is you get one underwriter who maybe is learning and it's your frustrations with them for so long, but they'll get there. But then you get the next one where it's like, how on earth are you still answering all my emails, getting my files done, getting my docs done? Like, it's like they're superhuman. It's unbelievable. You can get some really, really amazing ones and some really, really scary ones, but I thought about it. I'm like, would I want to be an underwriter? Would that be? And I'm no, I wouldn't. I like having someone else make that decision for me. I like to, push them in the approval direction, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I wouldn't be good at being an underwriter. I think I'd think too much with my heart. But,
But those are the
we all know
best
this makes sense. Let's
underwriters.
do it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, they
those are the
have to have
best
common sense.
underwriters.
That's the key. Yeah, I need the ones that have the common
Because if you
sense
just,
where it's like, yeah.
yeah, this makes sense. Well, and I mean, like the box checkers and all that other stuff, and we can really go down a rabbit hole on this because, it's a topic near and
Yeah.
dear to my heart. But yeah, I think that, you know, like kudos to the underwriters. Um,
Yeah. 100%.
yeah. Okay. So have like I guess like why are you have I already asked you why you're proud to be part of the Centum family? Because your
Um,
office really flies the Centum flag high. So what makes you proud to be part
yeah.
of the family?
I think just we've worked really hard these last few years. I mean, I've been almost 9 years now, I think, with Centum, and
Mm-hmm.
we've worked really hard to build a reputation here. Again,
Mm-hmm.
smaller town, reputation is key, and we've worked really
Yeah.
hard, and I think that that reputation is very good. I think we've weeded out the ones who weren't, didn't have the common
Right.
goals, and I think that, I think it's people gotta just know that this is the place they want to go. Why wouldn't you go to Centum? Why are you going to the bank? Like, yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think it's just we worked really hard to build this brand, and I think we have done a good job with it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, when I was, at the lender working with you, it was always, you were always such a, like the whole team was always such a pleasure to work with. And I can't say that that was always the experience I had for every office. And
Yeah.
it's that, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And you're right. Like, if you the requests that I would get from you, I would want to help you with, because
Hmm.
you and your team are such a pleasure to deal with. It makes me want to help you. Whereas there are, that I can't say that's for everybody. um I would help them, but would I exhaust every like avenue? Maybe no.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really like, your reputation does speak volumes.
Hmm.
And being in a smaller town, people talk, but it's also like your attitudes as well, because you could have the most awards on the shelf, but you could be a real pain in the ass to deal with, and people won't want to deal with you. But you could have no awards on the shelf and be a delight,
Yeah.
and people will be patient and understand that you're learning and
Yeah.
put up with it, because to engage with you is enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only way to be successful in this business is you have to be a person that people want to deal with. Like if you're
Yeah.
not, if you're angry all the time or you're giving them heck for something or yelling at people all the time, nobody wants to deal with that. Like there's other people that
Yeah.
aren't going to be like that. So
Yeah. Maybe it's time to change industries if you're grumpy all the time.
yeah, exactly.
Because I
They
think it's a
know
pretty
adults are like
sweet
that.
industry. You get to chat
Yeah.
with people all day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, sure, it's
so
stressful at times, but
yeah, but it's managed stress, right? We all
yeah,
know that the spring season's coming every year. It shouldn't be a surprise that it gets busy in spring.
no, exactly.
It always made me scratch my head where people are like, "It's busy." And you're like, this happened last year and the year before,
Yeah.
so like.
Yeah.
It shouldn't, at this stage in your career, it shouldn't be a surprise that it's busy. Um,
Yeah.
but with Centum's 20-year anniversary coming up, do you have any thoughts or feelings, or like, some reflections on what that means to you, what that means to the industry? Just anything, like when I say 20 years, Centum's 20th birthday, what does that make you feel?
I think it's really exciting because a lot of times people people want to know someone's established. So, even when they ask about lenders or anything like that, it's like, well, I've never heard of them before. Like, well, yeah,
Mm,
we've been around for 20 years. Where
yeah.
have you been? So I think just the longevity, like 20 years is a long time. And I think that people respect that. If somebody's making it in the industry that long, I
Mm,
think that it just gives that natural respect right off the hop. So I think it's great.
right.
I mean, the
Yeah.
longer you go, the more people respect it. So
Totally. And it's one of those things that we haven't been historically very loud about sentiment and who we are. And 20 years is a really good opportunity to start kind of shouting that from the rooftops, and being, we have been around 20 years, and we should be proud of that, because to your point, it is an achievement. And how many recessions does like, would those 20 years have covered? Yet we've been able to, survive and grow and evolve. So You know, I think you hit the nail on the head that it shows that you're established, and that's really important to gain that trust. Why do brokers choose your office to work for or to work at?
I honestly just think it's the team aspect. It's our
Right.
biggest selling feature. Like, I mean, sometimes we have people come in that want to join our team, and we're like, they don't really feel like a fit. Like,
Yeah.
we're starting to look for those ones who
Right.
are more like-minded and have the same goals as us. But people want to work here because not only our reputation, I mean, we have some pretty good producing brokers in this office, and we have some very knowledgeable
Hmm.
ones. And even the ones that are still learning,
Right.
they have those knowledgeable ones that have their back. I mean, I just did a chamber speech a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago, and that was one of the big things is when you work with one of us, you work with all of us. There's no man left behind. If somebody doesn't understand something,
Yeah.
I'm here, Sheila's here, like we are all here, and we will find the answer and we'll
Yeah.
get things done because their success is also our success. Not just as a partner, as an owner. I just like
Mm.
when other people are successful and I want to be around those people. So when you want people to do
Yeah.
well, and I just think that comes off when people come in and talk. I don't sugarcoat it. When people ask me about being a broker, I don't sugarcoat it. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. It's hard sometimes and you have to want to do it. And it's not
Right.
just like people think like you just sit back and make lots of money. It's like, no, you got to work really
Right.
hard for that money. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
just think people like to work here because we're awesome. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. We're awesome. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
And humble. No, but you're right. You have to
Yes,
put in the
very
work
humble.
to see the results,
Yeah,
right? In any
yeah,
sort of capacity, whether it's personal, like emotional growth, or
yeah,
work growth, you have to put in the work. And the fact that you're selective with your team members fosters that team environment, and they would be. I can imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because you say no, sometimes your team members appreciate that because they appreciate that you're not bringing in somebody who won't work with the rest of the team dynamics, and that also makes them feel special that they are part of the chosen group, for
yeah,
none of a better word. But it does make you feel special that you are what the office is looking for.
yeah, yeah.
And you don't, like, you guys don't cheapen it by or dilute it by just adding brokers for the sake of adding brokers, or getting
Yeah.
bigger volume so you can make more. It's really that, like, quality over quantity.
Yeah, and I know we always have to look at growing the brokerage and stuff, but I mean, if I'm going to be spending my time training somebody, they better want to do it because my time is
Yeah.
valuable and I don't want to waste my
Right.
time with someone who doesn't care. So, if you want to learn,
100%.
we'll teach you, but you have to want to be there.
Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with Naomi as much as I enjoyed having it. Please stay tuned for my next update. Thank you and have a great week.